Now we are going to look at some joints in the thorax and ribs also. There are some true ribs, false ribs. What about true ribs, false ribs? See the ribs which are attaching to sternum, first rib, second rib, third, fourth, 5, 6, and also the seventh directly. So telling the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rib attached to sternum directly. Where they came from? They came from the vertebra. They are called true ribs and vertebro-sternal ribs. So there is some true ribs or vertebro-sternal ribs. Yes, they come from vertebra and attached to sternum. But the remaining 5 are false ribs. So you're telling remaining 5 are false ribs? Yes. Why they're false? Because they don't attach to sternum directly. So false ribs will not attach to sternum directly. Indirectly they will attach? Yes, by costal margin. There is some costal margin. They use the costal margin and then they attach to sternum. What is costal margin made by? Costal margin is made by the rib number 8, 9, 10. If it is only 8, 9, 10, then what about the 11, 12? 11, 12 are floating ribs. This is 11 and 12, they are floating ribs. Now, if you say the rib number 11 and 12 are floating ribs, if you're telling rib number 11 and 12 are floating ribs, they don't attach to sternum. No. Let us look at them again. You have to understand that they are true ribs, the first 7, because they are coming from the vertebra to sternum, vertebro-sternal ribs. Then lower 5 ribs are false ribs, out of which the lowermost are floating ribs. But why would you say floating ribs? Because you see here, they are just floating and they are not attaching to sternum at all. Okay, they are not attaching to sternum at all. Yes, 11 and 12. And how this rib number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they attach to sternum directly. And what is about the rib number 8, 9 and 10? They are attaching to costal margin. This is the costal margin. Now this is some basic idea. Let's go further into the details. There is a manubriosternal joint. It is a midline joint and it is a symphysis. So manubriosternal joint is a midline joint and is a symphysis? Yes. What about the xiphisternal joint? It is also midline. The xiphisternal joint, which is in the midline, is actually primary cartilage joint. Primary cartilage joint. You mean to say synchondrosis? Yes, it is synchondrosis. And what if synchondrosis is not an option? Then the second answer is symphysis. You mean to say some books call it as symphysis? Yes. Xiphisternal joint, some books will call it as symphysis, but the first answer should be synchondrosis. So primary cartilage joint is first answer. Yes. If not found, then secondary cartilage joint is the second answer. Yes. Remember, be careful. Manubriosternal joint is secondary cartilaginous, the symphysis always. And the xiphisternal joint is synchondrosis, and if the option is not available, make it symphysis. Then what is the joint of rib number 1 with the sternum? The joint of rib number 1 with the sternum? Yes. Actually, rib number 1, when it is joining with the sternum, that joint is atypical joint, but it is not synovial. So it is atypical joint and it is not synovial? No. What is the name of that atypical joint? Name is not yet found, but we call it as synchondrosis. So you are telling that the name is not yet decided. We call synchondrosis means it is not primary cartilaginous joint. No, it is not primary cartilaginous. So it is a misnomer. Yes, it is a misnomer. Understand? When the first rib is attaching to sternum, that joint is a typical joint and no name has been decided yet, and till that time we decide any name, we keep calling it as synchondrosis, though it is a misnomer. It is not a synchondrosis joint, but we call it as synchondrosis. It is unnamed joint, in fact. Then what about the other ribs? Other, you mean to say rib number 2, 3, all that? Yes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have told that 7 ribs are attaching here. Yeah, 7 ribs are attaching here. They're all synovial, freely mobile joint for respiratory movement. So you're telling that rib number 2, 3 onward, they are all synovial joint for free movement? Yes. Even the rib number, this is 1 to 7, rib number 8, rib number 9, and rib number, see this costal margin, when you talk about, all of them are synovial joint between the ribs. These are joints between the rib except the 10th rib. So 10th rib, what about the 10th rib then? 10th rib is not having synovial joint. Now if you say 10th rib is not having synovial joint, then what kind of joint is there? It's a fibrous joint. It is not having synovial joint, it is a fibrous joint. So you are telling that all the ribs starting 2nd rib, 3rd rib, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2nd to 9, all of them have synovial joint at their tip? Yes. And they're freely mobile? Yes. But not the 10th rib? No. Why? What about the 10th rib? It is not synovial, it is fibrous. So we can remember one thing simply. The first rib and the last rib from the front view, the first rib and the last rib, which is 10th rib, from the front view, they're not moving, they don't have synovial joint. So first rib and the 10th rib don't have synovial joint, freely mobile joint? No. Otherwise, what about the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th? They all are synovial joint. Only the first rib and last rib don't have synovial joint. Who is the last rib in the front view? It is 10th rib here. And it is fibrous joint. These are all MCQs you have to memorize. So this is a quick revision now. As you revise, I told you. What is the manubrosternal joint? Manubrosternal joint is the symphysis. And what is the xiphisternal joint? Xiphisternal joint is a synchondrosis. And what about the first rib? If you say first rib, then it is here, you see, misnomer. First rib is a misnomer. If you say first rib is a misnomer, it is not synovial. No, it is not synovial. It is some fibrocartilage joint and it is called as synchondrosis, but it is a misnomer. And what are the 10th rib? 10th rib is also not having synovial joint. If you say 10th rib is also not having synovial joint, then what is it? It is never synovial. It is some ligamentous. So this is the 10th rib, yes, and it is not synovial, no, and it is ligamentous, yes. Otherwise, if you say rib number 9 or it is rib number 8 or it is rib number 7, whatever, you see, they're asking rib number 6 to 9, what are they having? Rib number 6 to 9 or whatever ribs here, they are interchondral joint, they are all synovial. So interchondral joints are also synovial? Yes, all these joints are synovial. The rib articulating with each other are synovial joint, except the 10th rib. 10th rib do not have synovial joint. It is fibrous. Otherwise, 9th rib, 8th rib, 7th rib, 6th rib, all of them have synovial joint. And not only that, even rib number 2 to 7, we have discussed there, rib number 2 to 7, that is also synovial. But the first rib do not have synovial joint. Or simply, first rib and 10th rib do not have synovial joint, and all the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 synovial joint. This is the point here. And we already mentioned this. First 7 ribs are true ribs. Last 5 ribs are false rib. And 8 to 10 are also called vertebrochondral. Why they are called vertebrochondral, not vertebrosternal? Because they are not attaching to sternum like true ribs. Then where are they attaching? They are attached to the costal cartilage of the next higher rib. So costal cartilage, that is why vertebrochondral. Chondral means cartilage, costal cartilage of the next higher rib. Yes, that's the point. And what was 11-12? 11-12 is floating rib. 11-12 is floating rib.